thanks. Like, hey, Scoob, did you hear Nikki Blake is hosting a Scooby-Doo panel? No. Yeah. Like on today's Scooby-Doo episode, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy meet Nikki Blake. Yeah, and a Scooby Panel. Like, we need to get this puppy started. Okay, Nikki Blake, take it away, Scooby-Doo.
Welcome to the Scooby Panel. I'm your host, Nikki Blake from ScoobyAddicts.com, and today we're talking about the Destroy, Build, Destroy episode, The Dudes versus Scooby-Doo. Before we begin, I'll have everyone introduce themselves, and Wendy, will start with you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Wendy BRYDGE. I'm a commission artist, and I've been a Scooby collector for over 30 years.
Joel.
Hi there, I'm Joel from the YouTube channel Plant Scooby.
And Mark.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mark, and I work on Scooby and Mark.
Mark, it's good to have you here. We're excited to have somebody new on the panel.
Thank you.
So we are talking about Destroy, Build, Destroy, Duel II, Scooby-Doo versus the Dudes. The episode aired on October 13, 2010, and featured the cast of the show Dude, What Would Happen, facing off against Nick Pilatus, Kate Melton, and Robbie Amell from The Mystery Begins and Curse of the Lake Monster. So the whole premise of the show is they destroy something, they build something out of what they destroyed, and then they destroy something else. It's a fun concept. I think it's a fun concept as long as they're not destroying the mystery machine, which they did. What were your thoughts when you first saw the mystery machine hanging off of the crane? Wendy?
My first thought was, wow, what a waste. Because even if it was, you know, just some kind of trashy, non-working vehicle, they took the time to paint it all up nice to look like the mystery machine. And yeah, I will admit I'm going to be the Debbie Downer tonight, 10,000%, because this is like the antithesis of everything that I like. Yeah. So seeing the mystery machine just kind of made it all the more worse. Also, kind of given the time period of when this was on, also kind of have that feeling of like, of course, like here's the new modern trope, let's destroy the mystery machine. So yeah, I wasn't really into it. Don't really like seeing things getting destroyed, especially though Scooby's van, like really, I don't know. I wasn't into that.
Joel, what was your first thought when you saw it hanging from the crane?
Yeah, I can't say I was a fan either, but I guess the show was good promotion for Scooby-Doo at least. It was called The Machine of Mystery. Like, I guess there's copyright or something. So that's a loophole in my head to get around it. Like, it's not really the mystery machine, it's the machine of mystery.
It's true. Mark, what were your first thoughts seeing the mystery machine hanging from the crane?
So my first thought was I was so heartbroken. I'm like, we only have a limited number of these in the world. Because one's not created every day. And I was just like, this is not happening. I'm not really seeing. It was shock, even though I knew what we was going into. But yes, very upset.
Yeah, and I didn't even notice that it had a different name.
No,
Honestly, I didn't. It's like it was painted like the mystery machine, and my brain was just like, it says mystery machine, and seeing it hanging from that crane, I had the same reaction that Nick Pilatus had before they even dropped it. I was like, no, you can't do this. Yeah, it was not cool. And then they dropped it, and it fell down the hill, and it landed on its roof. And I think my heart just shattered into a million pieces. It was so hard to see that. Mark, what were your thoughts when you saw it actually fall?
I was really just, I think, at a loss for words. I was like, they're doing this. And they're having the people who played the part watch this happen. So is this going to create trauma? So I was, yeah. And just constantly rolling. And I'm like, okay, make it stop. Make it stop.
Yeah. Wendy, what were your thoughts when it just crashed?
Yeah, I get that Scooby's just a cartoon. I get it. It's not real. The characters are not real. Yes, those three actors are real people, but they're not really Shaggy and Daphne and Fred. But seeing it like tumbling down the hill and then just coming to a destroyed, sad stop like that, I did kind of think what would those characters think if they were real or put it into the cartoon? And I mean classic Scooby gang, not like the modern gang where they don't seem all that phased or emotional about things that they should be emotional about, and then they're emotional about stuff where I'm like, why? What is this? But yeah, it kind of I guess because Scooby is a children's property, thinking of like little kids maybe seeing something like that, and just the Scooby gang in general, and that made it sad. And I get that the show is supposed to be funny and fun and everything, but yeah, I'm a stick in the mud little kid. So yeah, I don't know. I was like, what? Poor Fred would just be like crying, just like standing there like, why my baby?
Yeah, I felt like the Scooby people were a little too excited when they saw it on the crane. Like they knew what was going to happen. Their reactions were not exactly what I expected.
Yeah.
Joel, what were your thoughts when the Mystery Machine came crashing down the hill?
Yeah, this is a show that is meant for kids too, not just Scooby-Doo, but this Destroy, Build, Destroy. I looked it up on Wikipedia. The target audience was age 6 to 11. So that's fairly
Really?
young.
Wow.
Wow.
But as a grown-up, I thought the Mystery Machine had a noble death. It
Traitor.
really went down.
It went down,
It
yeah.
looked better than like some movies. There's only like 480p too. Like my resolution was not great, but it looked pretty good.
Wow, I can't see that show being for ages 6 to 12.
Well, it's so much younger than I thought.
I'd
Yeah.
imagine like 13 to 17.
Yeah.
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 That's
Wow.
interesting. All right.
I could be getting all these facts wrong too.
What did you think of Andrew WK and the dudes? Joel?
Yeah, they were high energy.
No, guys, shut up!
I guess they were really amping it up for the screen. When they had that like playoff with the trying to sink the ship, the one dude, he really knocked the wind out of himself. He did something pretty dangerous, I guess. Like he ran and jumped on a platform and just hit his chest on the platform. Man, I like couldn't believe that. I was just like, ah, poor guy. But yeah, they were really into it, and it's not normally my thing. Like I am not the target audience for this show, but I could take it because there's a Scooby theme going on. And same with Andrew WK. Like I know he's a musician. I never really got into him, but I like the one song he had that he came out with. But it's just too bro for me. Like I'm not the biggest fan, but you know, I don't want to say anything mean or nothing too. It's just not for me.
Mark, what were your thoughts on Andrew WK and the dudes?
I thought they were very excited.
Yeah! Why are we screaming? Yeah!
The adrenaline was very high. So I was like, just very, trying to pay attention to their actions, and I felt like it was like kind of like a group of just teenagers that are like so excited they get to demolish something, and the adrenaline was very high.
Wendy, what were your thoughts on Andrew WK and the dudes?
Both of you, that was the most polite way ever of saying what I will just come out and say for all of us. They were all annoying AF.
They
Capital AF.
Yeah! 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 Ah! He's so much bigger than me!
I don't know that in my nearly 38 years on this planet, I have ever watched a group of people that were more annoying. I had a very hard time sitting through them. I did. God bless them. I'm sure that they are the most wonderful people. So this is like nothing personal, even though that sounded very personal. I'm sorry, but yes, way too hyperactive for me. And all of the yelling, it was just yelling upon yelling upon yelling. And I really don't think that that was necessary. It really wasn't. By the time I was done, the volume on my laptop was at 3 out of 100 because I had to keep turning it down because it was just yelling. All of this yelling.
Yeah.
Calm down, guys. Just take it down. Just take it down like a couple notches, please. I'm shocked. Honestly, I went and looked to see like how long this show went on, and then like I didn't even realize that those dude people had their own show. How there was so much made with these people, I don't know. But like Joel said, I'm clearly not the target audience here. So if people enjoy that, good for you. But yeah, for me, because I was not a hyperactive kid, I was the kid like sitting in the corner judging everybody in the room for being like that. And as I was watching them, all I could think is like, holy geez, what were they like when they were like 6? Yeah, that was a frightening thought that they're like that now as like young adults, and Andrew obviously as like a full adult. I didn't think it needed to be that like over the top with like just the yelling, guys. I can't take all the yelling.
It was really tough. They were very obnoxious.
Yeah.
And yeah, the yelling, the Andrew WK almost became like the adult at one point because they got so out of hand.
Yeah.
Just it was hard to watch. I am also not the target audience for that show. I watched the episode twice, and I'm surprised I was able to get through it twice because it was a tough one.
Yeah, same.
And then when the dudes, they made that poster of Scooby-Doo that said beat Scooby-Doo, and they made the drawing, and then there was an arrow pointing at Scooby that said loser.
Beat Scooby-Doo, and then there's Scooby-Doo, and it says loser.
Yeah.
It was like I wanted to jump through the TV and like punch them all in the face. You do not ever associate Scooby-Doo with a loser. Not cool, people. Not cool. Was anybody else irritated by that, or was it just me?
Yes, I was very. I seen that, and when the camera went to that, I was like, I know that does not say what I think it says. I was like, this is just too much. We cannot do this.
Yeah. And then they made poor Scooby like a beagle.
Yeah.
It looked like a beagle. And like, how hard is a Great Dane? Like a great big muzzle and pointy ears, and they didn't even get that right. So I mean, that made it like a little less. Not really. I'm trying to be positive, guys. It really didn't make it less that it didn't look like Scooby. I was just like, wow, now you just made it worse because you made Scooby look like whatever that was. You know, I mean, it was kind of a cute drawing of a dog, like good job, but yeah, no, it's not. That's not a Scooby dog at all.
No. And then they were like Ruh-roh, and I'm like, no.
And you know what the other team's gonna say? What? Ruh-roh. Ruh-roh.
You need to stop. Like the drawing is a no. The impression is a no. Like, let's just end this now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after they destroyed everything, the mystery machine and the ice cream truck, they had to make boat launchers out of them, which I thought was kind of an odd thing to make a boat launcher, but whatever. What were your thoughts on the designs that they made, and how would you have made it different? Wendy?
Okay, I'm going to just state the obvious here. We like glazed right over the fact that they were making something. It was like, ooh, screaming, yelling, kapow. We're going to build something, and then we're in the water and we're splashing around and like it's all gone to heck. And I'm like, okay, well, where was the building part? you know, like they were running around trying to steal a hockey stick. Okay, but I actually kind of was interested to see the building part, because they just like, they went in and then they came out and they're like, oh, cool, look what we built. And I'm like, how? What did you build? Explain this. Maybe let's look at it a little bit closer, you know, instead of like the poo paint that they spread all over their pink machine. So yeah, I really had a hard time thinking of something to say for this, because I don't know what they built, because they didn't show us. They didn't show us anything. I will say that I admired that the Scooby Gang like went a little non-traditional with like a side launch on their boat, given that they ended up having to like pull up next to the pond, and that obviously like these things don't run. These people are having to push these giant pieces of metal around. So I'm sure that through the fun, wonderful magic of TV editing, we did not see the hassle, which was the dudes trying to back that thing up to the water, which probably took like 20 people that we didn't get to see. So side launch, that was pretty cool. Was a little short. So poor Nick had like a little tumble there, because yeah, that looked very unpleasant. Was glad that wasn't me. And the rotating hose was a cool idea. I don't know how I would have built this differently, because it's so just like, I mean, honestly, maybe I'm just too dumb. That is entirely a possibility, that I'm just too dumb for this. But there was just like so much nothing going on, and they showed nothing, and what they were doing was like nothing. So I don't know what I would have done. I really don't. I probably would have been like, here, I'll draw Scooby on the board for you, and you guys go do whatever you're doing. And we'd at least have like a screen accurate, model accurate representation of Scooby for them to then call a loser. And then I would punch them in the face for it. Yeah.
They did spend a lot of time with that ball game where they had to knock the statues
Right.
off the podiums. I
Yeah.
felt like they could have not done that and shown us the builds, because yeah, you didn't, it was like, here's a box of crap for you to put on your thing, and then, oh, they're done, let's launch them. Like,
Yeah.
where was the actual build? Yeah, it didn't make any sense. But
Yep.
Joel, what were your thoughts on their boat launchers, and how would you have made them different?
Yeah, pretty much same as Wendy. I didn't even know the one did the side launch either. So she was paying better attention than I was. It did have like the Scooby-Doo did have like a wading pool on top, which I thought was kind of cool. I don't even think they really built it. Like, I think they had the people behind the scenes build it for the most part. Because yeah, a lot of time was just wasted on games and fake sneezing poop on people and spray painting people and
Go!
Hey? Yeah.
they didn't really show much of the boat launchers either. Like just split seconds. I guess that was like how they did everything back in the, when was this, 2010? Like just fast edits. If I were to do it differently, I don't know, like maybe safer so yeah, like Nick wouldn't fall off and potentially bang his head on something. Seemed a little bit dangerous. Yeah, I'm not an expert in boat launchers, and I guess they took the machine of mystery panel and they put it on the side, which I thought was cool. Maybe they could have like signed it and instead of destroying it, donate the painting to someone or something, some fan, because it was the cast from a movie. It's the only thing I could think of maybe doing differently. But yeah, it is yeah, like what Wendy said. I'm just making noise here.
Mark, what were your thoughts on the boat launchers, and how would you have made them different?
So, disclaimer, I do not know anything about boat launchers, nor do I know how to build them. So I really, the Mystery Machine design was very, I could see where they went with that. I agree also, I would have liked to see more of the build instead of the games. But like the dudes, their design was just like, I feel like they were more like just playing with the paint and just, like they weren't as focused as the other team. And I was like, this is not very good competition at this moment.
Yeah. I also know nothing about boat launchers or building things pretty much in general. So I wouldn't even know what to do to make it any of them better besides not making them at all. Maybe make something else. I don't know. Like the designs were so weird from what you actually got to see. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I maybe they don't spend a whole lot of time showing them because they do such a crappy job making them. But yeah, it would have been nice. It would have been nice to see them build something cool.
Yeah.
I think they could have done something better. Yeah. Let's talk about competition. How do you think the Scooby people handled the competition on this show? And are you a competitive person? Joel?
I think the Scooby team handled it pretty well. They were excited to be there. They weren't overly crazy. They were just having fun with it. Am I a competitive person? Not really, no. I usually could care less about competitions myself. Yeah, I'm not a big sports guy either. Team sports, I could never get into. I just kind of look for an exit somewhere and kind of disappear.
Mark, what did you think about the Scooby team's competitiveness? And are you a competitive person?
So I really thought they did great with their competition. And they, especially when they were, having to throw the balls at the statues, they got their points really quickly. And I was like, okay, yes, here we go. We're going to win. Um, so, but as far as me being competitive, I'm very competitive. I don't have to win, so I'm not one of those. Um, but I enjoy games. Never really played sports, but I'm competitive with things like that. It likes to be fun.
Wendy, how do you think the Scooby team handled the competition? And are you a competitive person?
I was pretty proud of the Scooby team. I thought that given they were representing Scooby, they did a really good job because, like everybody said, they were excited to be there, but they were also like composed. There was none of that like flailing and craziness and everything. And I appreciated that, not just from like a human standpoint of like, yes, maybe a little bit of decorum in what you're doing because you're not insane, but also because they're representing Scooby. And the Scooby gang would not be crazy and stuff, in my opinion. So I thought they did great in that ball game, although highly offended at the things that they were like knocking down. Now, I don't know if they were really like retro, like vintage Christmas decorations, but they were Christmas decorations. And I was like shaking. I was so like, stop it. Bring all those things to my house. I want them all. You cannot throw balls at them and destroy them and make a thing of it. Anyway, not the point. I am not a competitive person. I am competitive with myself. I definitely have like a drive to like be a better version of myself than I was yesterday, but competing with other people, no. I don't like any kind of team effort, anything, no team sports. I'd rather just like go and be competitive by myself, with myself, and leave like that other stuff like to somebody else, because that, to me, that can take a lot of fun out of it when people take it too far, and then when they don't win, or even when you can have a sore winner is just as bad as a sore loser. Or then there are unfortunately people who take it too personally in that if they don't win, then they feel bad about themselves. And then I feel terrible for those people too, because I'm like, well, Todd, this was supposed to be fun. So yeah, I was not raised to be competitive. I'm not competitive. a comment about the overall competition on this show, though, that I was kind of just like at the end, like, what? Was kind of a really poorly designed competition, just in general, because you figure they're all rushing to get down to the water, but that was pointless because you couldn't do anything until your opponent got their boat in the water too. So there was like nothing, like they're making all this to do before they even get down and launch their boats in the water. And I'm just like, well, okay, but you can't do anything anyway because you're just trying to sink the boat. So I thought that was a very odd choice of, if you're gonna have a competition for something, doesn't one of you need to like be faster than the other or whatever it is? Because I feel like if either of the teams had been really efficient and good at what they were doing, half the show would have had to be cut because they would have just been like sitting in the water waiting for the other guys to get their boat in. So just feel like there was a way better way of showing like a competition on the show. So that was kind of disappointing because that felt like the most lazy writing ever. Along with the fact that clearly the pond was too big because they just both went to their own sides. The hoses couldn't even reach, which I guess made for better entertainment because then everybody jumped in the water. But yeah, they realized really quickly that they did not think any of that through. There's no way that that kid did not get hurt. I mean, they are very fortunate that it wasn't worse than what it was. Even Kate looked like she got hurt. And there's like one really quick little clip where she is like, stop, kind of, because she can't, I don't know if she got like some water in the face and she couldn't breathe. I don't know. But to the point that they had to just be like, okay, it's over. Everybody stop.
Stop! 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 Everybody just stop!
Because it just got so out of control and it was a reasonably dangerous situation. So just, I mean, if you're going to have a show about a competition, like maybe write a better competition to have, because that just like none of it made sense. And I think that was really where the show suffered. And I maybe could have overlooked how annoying everything was if the writing had been better. Like, this is what we're going to do. The most entertaining part was just where they were throwing the balls at the statues. If that had been the whole show, I might have come out of this and been like, okay, I give it like a B-. It's cool. But yeah, no. So that was a very weird, like, it was supposed to be a competition, but it kind of wasn't, though.
It was really weird. And I can't imagine that it's very easy to sink a canoe. Right? Especially if they have the ability to remove the water from it. Like, how long would they have let that go if they were actually supposed to sink one?
Right. Yeah.
And why wouldn't they have just built some type of cars that they could race?
Right.
It would have made more sense.
Agreed.
I did think that the Scooby Gang did really well working together, though, especially with the tandem bike and throwing the balls. Like, they worked really well, while the dudes, who have been working together for years, were awful at all of it. Like, they couldn't get their shit together to actually work together.
No.
As far as being competitive, I don't think I am anymore. I used to be. Not so much like with my kids or playing games. Like, my mom is very competitive, so if I play games with my mom, like, it stresses me out because she's super competitive, and I feel like it kind of makes me competitive too. But it just really stresses me out a lot. And, you know, with like in the Scooby community, I don't feel like I have any competition in the community. Like, we should all be working together and supporting each other. And that's a big thing for me. We'll all succeed more if we work together and support each other. So yeah, I definitely don't feel any competition there. Yeah, but I do know some very competitive people, and they can get pretty scary. Competitive people are very scary. What are your final thoughts on this episode of Destroy, Build, Destroy? Mark?
So I will say I was very overwhelmed by all the like Wendy had said, the screaming. I'm just like, okay, I'm like, can we just not do this for a second, just so I can think, you know? So I was very much, like the adrenaline was way too high for me, and I enjoy having fun, but I'm like, okay, there's a level, and then like working through the designs and things. I really wish we would have saw more of the build. And that may have not been the purpose behind the show, but it is in the name, so I feel like we should see a little more.
Yeah.
But overall, just very interesting. I had actually never watched an episode, so it was very interesting.
Nice. Wendy, what are your final thoughts?
I will never watch this again. Ever. Like Nikki, I did have to watch it twice because the first time I watched it before you sent us the questions, and I had a hard time even paying attention because I just wanted it to be over. And then I realized, oh no, I don't know the answer to any of these questions. I'm gonna have to watch it again. And yeah, it was hard to sit through it. I definitely, even whether it was this episode or one of the other ones, I am not the target audience in any way, shape, or form, and that's fine because not everything has to be for me. It's totally fine. I will put on like my little mom cap for a minute though, because I can't help myself because we're talking about Scooby and it's just the person that I am. Especially now that Joel has told us what the actual demographic, like the target demographic was, and it is even way younger than what I was thinking. I especially want to make this point, which is that, yes, it's Mark just said, having fun is important and we all like to have fun, but like there are levels to things. And personally, looking at the bigger picture here, I don't think that a show like this is actually like the best idea to be showing to kids. For a number of reasons. Number one, kind of the way that people were acting, because the host was acting like the dudes were, and the host is in all of the episodes. So that is a constant in the show. I can say that without even having watched any of it. And kids, they're really impressionable. I remember my dad telling me one time that when he was little, there was a show and there was a character, like a little boy, that lisped. And my dad started lisping. And his parents put the kibosh on that right away. They're like, no, you don't have that problem. Don't do that. But little kids, they mimic what they see. So I kind of feel like just even from a behavior standpoint, showing this to kids, I'd be like, yeah, I wouldn't show. If I had kids, I'd be like, absolutely not. We're not watching this unless you want to sit through my like 3 hours of commentary afterwards while I tell you that you're not going to behave like that. But also just like, I don't want to be the stick in the mud, but it's weird that people want to see stuff getting destroyed. Even when I was little, I felt that way. And I don't know. It's odd to me. And I don't know that we want to be instilling in little children that it's fun to wreck shit. I don't know. I just feel like this is to me, the demographic of this type of show where you're destroying things, even if you're going to build something out of it. This is like maybe like a 14 plus, and that's being generous. I still think 14. I think that is an adult content show for me, because I just feel like we don't need to be encouraging people to destroy things or to like get off on that or to like really think that it's like, oh wow, this is the best thing ever. And until you're an adult, I feel like you're too impressionable to just be shown something that's that extreme and that just like in your face, hyperactive, like added to what they're doing. I feel like that had the potential to like create some really out of control kids, and it didn't need to go there. I think that that I don't know, the idea of it, I don't think was like great for like kids entertainment. I don't think that belonged on Cartoon Network. Definitely did not belong with like a 6-year-old, like 6 and so 11 or 12 or whatever it was rating. That's crazy to me. I think that's insane. So yeah, just from like my stick in the mud stance, I'm sorry, but I don't think that it was appropriate for children, because something being appropriate doesn't always have to do with like language or sexuality or content like that's inappropriate in that way. I just feel like this was a really bad influence for like kids or young adults watching it, or at least it had the potential to do that, both from like a behavior standpoint and from what they were doing. But hey, if people out there have enjoyed it, great. I'm actually ecstatic. I thought that this was going to be a disaster panel, because I thought you all were going to like love it and be like, Wendy, shut your mouth. The fact that we're like, for the most part, on the same page and everyone here is very mellow and not like these dudes. Guys, this was great. It was worth watching that just to have this moment of like, oh, normal people. It's wonderful. Love that.
Oh, that's funny. It reminds me of all the YouTube people that are like hyper and screaming in their videos, and I just can't be like that. I mean, the most excited I think I've ever been on a panel is probably the Monster Jam one. Yeah. But I wasn't like screaming and hyper and like, it's just not me. And maybe that's why I don't get a lot of views on YouTube, but I can't be like that. Like, it's just not me. I can't do it. Joel, what are your final thoughts?
I don't think I can add anything else. Everyone summed up how I felt. I also watched it twice, and I will never watch it again.
Yeah, I think I will probably never watch it again either. I did watch it when it aired. I watched it, and I totally forgot about it, and then watched it twice this week, and I think that's the end of it for me. The one thing that I didn't like, and the one thing, Wendy, that I'm not with you on, is I do like to see things get destroyed. Okay, I do.
Okay.
I talked about it in the monster truck panel. I love to see them get destroyed. It's like the highlight of being at Monster Jam. It's so cool. But when they did do things like blow things up, they showed the explosion, but they never really showed the aftermath. And that's all part of it. Like, you want to see the explosion, but you want to see what happened to it too. Just like the Mystery Machine, when it came crashing down, landed on its roof, they barely showed the Mystery Machine and like what happened to it. I guess that's probably good, because I didn't want to see the Mystery Machine get destroyed. But yeah, but when they blew up the boat launchers, they showed the explosion. They never showed what it looked like after they exploded. And they just kept re-showing the explosion. So yeah, that was a little disappointing. But even with them destroying things, it just wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it. I just can't watch it again. I don't know. It's not for me. Those people are just way too annoying, over the top annoying and obnoxious. They're just not the kind of people that I can like be near and be okay with. Like, it's not me. I'm too mellow for people like that. All right, we are going to wrap things up. Before we do, let everyone know where they can find you on social media. And Wendy, we'll start with you.
On Instagram, I'm Wendy Bridge. Twitter, Wendy Loves Jesus. And my blog is wendylovesjesus.wordpress.com.
Joel?
You can find me on YouTube, just YouTube Planet Scooby.
Mark?
And you can find me on Facebook at Scooby Doo and Mark.
And you can find all my links on ScoobyAddicts.com. Thank you for joining us for another Scooby panel. Thank you for tuning in to another Scooby panel. I'm Nikki Blake from ScoobyAddicts.com. If you like these panels, please subscribe to my channel for more great discussions. A huge shout out to our patrons, Julie Rosen, Ross from ScoobyFan.net, Tagus, Elizabeth Maloney, Garrett Spencer, and Paul the Scooby Dude. If you would like to support the Scooby Panel, please go to patreon.com/ScoobyAddicts. A very special thank you to artist, blogger, and Scooby collector Wendy BRYDGE, Joel from Planet Scooby, and Mark Morrison from Scooby Doo and Mark. Scooby Panel is available in podcast form on most podcast platforms or as a web series on YouTube. You can find Scooby Panel on Instagram, Facebook, and X as @ScoobyPanel. We are part of the Collector's Maze Network, where you can find all things geek. Scooby and Shaggy were voiced by Scott Innes. Check out Scott's website, onescottshop.com. Scooby Addicts artwork by Will Davenport. Scooby Panel logo by Garrett Spencer. Video editing by Nikki Blake. Music composed and performed by Bovine Nightmares. Please join us next time for another Scooby Panel.